Well, feels like I've said this a few times. Welcome back to another morning. Had to do a trip up to Heathrow yesterday. Hence didn't do much on the van apart from get some bits and mess around with a couple of items I wasn't too particularly happy with. What I've discovered with the floor is originally I wanted a more sympathetic residential type of trim on this section here. But the challenge is most of them are really small in respects of depth and width, and weren't cutting it for my requirements. I know a lot of people just get a piece of right angle aluminium like that of various grade, and they'll fit it and they'll do that, and they'll countersink screws in the top. Personally, I don't like that. I've got that in my other van. Doesn't really float my boat. It's possibly the best way of doing it, but I'm not keen on that idea. So what I've done, I am going to use the diamond tread plate again, just because it works and the sizing is correct for what I've got. It may not work for your application, but for me it's almost a spot on. Now the challenge I had, I didn't really want to cut this board here because it's made it short. Because I doubled up the beams underneath the floor when I was building the floor. If you watch my episodes, it's all really strong under there, but the foam that it sits on between that and the original OEM board allows it to flex. So if you kind of tread there, you can't really see it, but it will actually bend the board slightly, which I'm not too chuffed about. What I'm attempting to do is make sure I don't have a future problem, because obviously all the weight's going to be coming on this section along here when you step into the van. I want to make sure that's as sturdy as possible. So here's my plan. So cunning you could put a tail on it and call it a fox. Right, there's the new beam that I need to cut. But I found this. It's trim for windows, when people do double glazing windows, etc, etc. The length is relevant, but what I was interested in is the width is about 25 mil, but it's 5 mil thick, which is exactly the same depth as the insulation under the floor. So the plan is, I'm sure there's more experienced people out there going, no, that's not going to work, is that. No, of course not on the top, underneath. So the plan is I'm going to cut out a section of the foam underneath the floor, substitute it with this piece of plastic trim. Hence, that will give the board on the edge here a solid edge, so it's not going to flex. Then I shall cut the trim. Obviously this is going to go in there between the original OEM board, which is there, and the foam, which is there. If you can see, that helps if I point the camera at the right direction. Original floor foam, laminate flooring. So I'm going to cut a section out of the foam out, install this plastic trim. Then I shall, so that will be underneath the floor. Then the new piece will go over the top. So that what that means is that the floor is going to have, I'll show you a little diagram actually. Haha. Not that you can't figure it out, but hey, I remember Blue Peter. So you'll end up with that will be, if that's the edge, for example. So it's going to be like that. So it's going to be solid, and the foam will be obviously up to this point here, and this will go over the top like that. But also, if you see this, it's almost a perfect fit for the side of the van to cover up that section there, to make the floor nice and waterproof. Yeah, so there you go. So that's the plan, and I just need to crack on with it. Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's all these piddly little jobs that take time. And I know I'm pretty pedantic. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But again, that's a lot better. Cleaner line and I can get a good seal on that. Win-win situation for 3 or 4 minutes worth of work. And there you have it, all nicely done. So that seal's nice and flat. So yeah, good job. And I've taped it off to finish it off. I've put some battens in there, marine ply, just to stiffen it up a bit and to act as spacers. I have cut the diamond shred. Whoop. Okay, and there you have it. There's a countersink self-tapping screws. Tied that into there. I'm going to leave that for the time being until I know how I'm going to do things in that corner, due to the kitchen, etc, etc. So yeah, not bad. Just need to put some weight on it now. Put the puppy linseed or whatever it is tape on the inside to waterproof that joint, then screw it in. It seems a bit anal what I'm doing. It's got a massive lip on the tape, so when I try to butt it up, if I don't cut the lip off, it doesn't go right to the edge. So I'm just crudely cutting it off, just to make my life a little bit easier, without making too much of a mess. Famous last words. Ugh. You ever do a task and it just ends up being more difficult than it should be? Or you make it more difficult than it should be? Okay, right. Yeah, baby. Stick on the floor, why don't you? Oh, don't do that to me. Come on. Right. So, now I've cut that lip off, I can get this closer to the edge. Or the inside track, I should say. Without trying to mess it up too much. Oh, I'm rushing it. Okay, what I did last time, I actually pressed this all down, which was a fantastic idea, and then it ended up being a horse's ass trying to get it off. So for now, that will do. I had this problem last time, it's rather sticky. Right, let's see how I can get this done. Well, apologies for the lack of filming. What I'm actually doing, I'm sitting on that lip to pressurise it, then screw it in. So it's not the most entertaining thing to watch. So I'll get that all screwed in, keep my foot on it, pressurise it down, screw it in. Then I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Well, the step's in. I've cut the putty, so there's actually putty under the lip there, make it nice and watertight. That adds a little bit nasty, so I've just put some putty around it to stop myself catching it. But yeah, pleased. It's stainless steel self-tapping flange screws I have placed into the leading trim, and it's made it nice and rigid, so pleased with that. I'm going to seal the edges around the bottom to make it waterproof as much as possible, because obviously you can see there's a gap there and the underside trim there, so it's not going to go anywhere. The water's going to go down, but I'm just going to put some once I get some appropriate sealant. That grey looks a bit tacky, so I will dig that out when I put the new sealant in. Yeah, but pretty good, pleased with that. And just to finish off this week's video, tip from me: if you don't know, if you live in the UK, you've got places like a B&Q or Home Depot, and they always have scrap bins, so it's always worth, when you're going there, to look in the scrap bin and see what you can find, because you can get some really good ply, which comes really handy, and items like that. So I've got lots of, and that's just, a lot of those are my little scrap bits, but I've got massive pieces in the garage that I've salvaged. So when I need to use little noggins and cut them up, I don't have to buy good wood just for a slither. So it's definitely worth doing. Right, I shall now sign off. I'm going to wrap up this video here for this week, because it's now Friday. I need to get it edited and uploaded. So I hope you enjoy this week's video. Thank you. Bye.